we will be looking at the full American League standings this morning, and we have some races alive and well, folks. We are going to be breaking down who's alive, where, the remaining schedule to see who has the edge in these final 2 weeks, and we're going to predict what we think is going to happen. Okay. Who's going to make it? Who's not going to? Who's going to be on the outside looking in? All right. Well, but first, if this is your first time here, please do us a favor and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that doorbell, everybody, because our mascot Frexy really appreciates it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, we are going to get started out west in the AL because it's the tightest race right now. The Mariners and the Astros tied
neck and neck
for first place atop the division. And oh, by the way, those Rangers are just now 2 games back of both of these teams.
Crazy.
And here we go again. I wrote it down. These 3 teams always at the end of the season, Nika.
Well, the other remaining teams are the Angels and the Athletics. Sometimes they could be good, sometimes they don't.
True, but it's amazing to me that these teams just always wind up so close to each other at the end of the season. And the only sad thing for 2025 is that a lot of their games against each other have already been played. So they don't. I remember last year, I think it was, where it was like the final 10 games of the season, the Mariners played the Astros, Rangers, and Astros.
Yep.
So we don't get that lucky, I guess, with the scheduling. However, the Astros will play Seattle next week at home. The Mariners will play at Houston, and that's it. I'm sorry. The Rangers also play at Houston.
Oh.
So, but that's it. No Rangers-Mariners games, and the Mariners will not get Astros at home. The Rangers will not get the Astros at home.
So all these series have been decided, basically.
They have. And I did not look up those records, unfortunately.
No, that's okay.
But the Astros will also play starting tonight at Atlanta. Then they play Texas at home, as I said, Seattle at home. Then they have to go to the Athletics at the A's. And then they have to finish the season at the Los Angeles Angels. So they do have a divisional juggernaut run here at the end with 4 teams in their division.
Okay.
And the Athletics are one of the top 10 teams in baseball, everybody, since the All-Star break or the trading deadline. I get those confused with when it started, but does it really matter? No. They've been amazing lately, and they have some great young players.
And hungry players.
They do. I mean, they're not playing for the playoffs right now. They're playing for future monies.
Yeah.
That might be more motivational. Depending on who you ask. The Mariners will be finishing their season. They have 4 games against the Los Angeles Angels. Those are at home, and they already won the first game last night.
Okay.
So they will have 3 more this weekend, and then they go to Kansas City, which is always a wild time for the Mariners some reason.
For some reason, those 2 teams have crazy games.
They do. And then after that, they will go to Houston, and then they finish the season with Colorado at home, and the mighty Los Angeles Dodgers coming to T-Mobile Park in Seattle to finish the 2025 campaign.
You make sure
that
to circle those
series
games.
is circled for me because I look at this right now, and I just don't think this is going to be decided until then.
Probably not.
Especially if they're tied right now. And how will the Rangers factor in? Well, let's find out.
Okay.
They have to play at New York Mets starting tonight. And oh, by the way, that is a homecoming game for one Jacob deGrom. That might be his first start
since he left
at Citibank Field in a uniform other than the Mets. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it's probably one of the biggest games considering both of those teams are the Rangers trying to get on the inside right now, and the Mets barely hanging on to the final wild card spot in the NL. Crazy. Then, obviously, we said they go to Houston. They then have Miami and Minnesota at home. And that's interesting because Houston is not far. So they don't have to travel too far before those home games. They then finish the season at Cleveland. Cleveland is kind of in it,
but not
kind
really.
of not. So that'll be interesting if Cleveland's out of it by then. I have a sneaking suspicion that they would be kind of dejected and not really giving a shit. And that might play into the Rangers' favor. If they're alive, obviously they're going to be playing hard until the final outs. So a lot of those things kind of matter in this situation right now.
High drama at the end of September.
Definitely. All right. Well, who do we think is going to win here? I look at this and I feel like the Astros have the toughest schedule once they get through Atlanta.
Okay. They play
Texas,
first.
Seattle, Athletics, and then the Angels. Like, I just think the Angels will play hard because they don't. That's a division rival.
Of course, and
like,
they swept the Dodgers
They have twice.
twice. So you can't say they are gonna lay down for you. They will play you tough.
Definitely. And I feel like the Rangers actually have probably one of the easier schedules out of these three. Although there's no easy games. I don't like to predict that. If I were to bet right now, I think that the Mariners, this might be their year.
Oh, I hope so. They got Kyle Riley going, so why not? They
Kyle
might not
Riley
have-
trying to make some history.
Sure.
He needs one more home run to tie the great Mickey Mantle for switch hitting home runs in a season.
Wow. He
And
will
then-
get it.
Yeah, I hope he gets 2 more. And then
will get
if he
it.
gets 3 more, he will tie Ken Griffey Jr. for the single season Mariners home run record. And 4 more gives him the all-time Seattle Mariners home run record. So
At least he will get those records.
I'm looking for 4 more homers, Cal. Can you do that in 15 games for us?
Chop.
Chop. All right, Nika. Well, I think we should I'm gonna go with Seattle.
Okay, me too.
All right. Let's go Mariners. Get it done. Bring it home this
Try things
year.
up.
Let's raise at least one banner next year in Seattle, a division championship. Okay, let's turn our attentions now to the East Coast side of things because things are interesting. 15 games remaining again, folks, and the Yankees are now just 3 games back of the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Red Sox 3.5 games back of the Toronto Blue Jays. And then, oh, by the way, the Yankees and Red Sox are kind of duking it out for that top wild card spot because, and then Toronto, if they get taken, will factor into that as well. Let's start with the Blue Jays because I want to answer the question first. Will the Yankees or Red Sox have a chance of catching the Blue Jays?
How many games behind?
3 and 3.5. So 15 games left. Now, a lot of this comes down to whether or not they play each other. And, it turns out they're all in the same division, and they do.
Oh, nice.
But not as much as I would like. The
Okay.
Yankees and Blue Jays are done. The Yankees and Blue Jays do not play each other. The Red Sox and Blue Jays do play each other one time. And
Okay.
that is towards the end of this. So the Blue Jays, they will start tonight at home against Baltimore. Then they go to Tampa Bay for 4. Then they go to Kansas City. And then they have home series against Boston and Tampa Bay to close out the season. I feel like that Tampa Bay 4-game series is going to be one to watch. The Rays are not a laydown.
No. And this is
And that's 4 games on the road
4
at that
games,
minor
yeah.
league stadium. Okay, well, hold that thought. Meanwhile, the Yankees play at Boston.
Okay.
And that's tonight. So we get our classic matchup starting tonight. Red Sox, Yankees.
Must watch.
Always a good rivalry. Then they go to at Minnesota and then at Baltimore for 4 games. So 10 games here on the road before finishing the season at home. Now they have the White Sox and then the Orange Birds one more time to finish it out. Hold that thought. The Red Sox have the Yankees obviously at home. The Athletics at home. Then they go to Tampa Bay, and then they go to Toronto, as we mentioned, and then Detroit at home to finish the season. So I mentioned that Detroit series because that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because Detroit is trailing Toronto right now for home field in the playoffs by a half a game. Just a half of a game. So hold that thought for a second because we're going to talk about how that's undecided. But that's going to play into this, is what I'm saying. And so who's going to win the AL East, Nika?
It's a Titanic over there. The rotating chairs.
Yeah.
I will go with the Blue Jays. Somebody different than Yankees or Red Sox.
I'm going to go with the Blue Jays as well because they have that 3-game lead right now and 3.5 respectively. And they play each other this weekend. and this is the time. The Blue Jays have to win this series against the Orioles because in doing so, they will effectively gain ground on both of the Red Sox and Yankees now. And then you're going to be looking at an even bigger lead with 12 games left.
Sure. But
So,
Orioles are not slouch either. You know, they've been playing decent.
I know. That's the one wild card in all of this is like, and the Blue Jays and Orioles do not like each other historically.
Neither those Yankees and
nobody
Blue
in that
Jays.
division likes each other actually, but like I believe the Blue Jays and Orioles have gotten a little bit more heated than everybody else has over the years.
Oh, okay.
At least in recent memory. So I'm excited.
Sure.
You're excited. Everybody's excited.
Well,
we have a
September
race in the
baseball.
AL East. I just think the Blue Jays are going to walk away with this one. The only other wild card, I guess, in this scenario is how close Boston can stay to the Blue Jays before that series. If they're more than 3 games back when that series happens, I just feel like they're not going to be as motivated to win.
Okay.
I mean, they're still going to be motivated because they're going to be in a different race, but yeah.
It's tough to predict right now because they play each other so many times left.
Yeah, and I guess it depends on where the Blue Jays are at, but I don't think they're going to want to give. It's one of those situations where if you're the Blue Jays, you don't want to give necessarily a ticket to the playoffs for the Red Sox and like rest your main players and then all of a sudden you find yourself playing them later on in the playoffs and they're hotter than shit because they got on a winning streak against you.
And you've been resting.
Going into October and all of a sudden you're rusty. Yeah, exactly. You want to avoid all that. So my advice is to put your foot on the other team's neck when you have the opportunity to so it doesn't come back to bite you in the ass. Thank you.
Good advice.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, let's talk about that AL home field that's undecided, Nika. The Tigers are just a half a game back of the Blue Jays, as we mentioned. We talked about who the Blue Jays have to play. The Tigers, meanwhile, will be finishing at Miami,
Okay.
then Cleveland at home, Atlanta at home, and then they finish on the road at Cleveland and at Boston. And those Cleveland games are going to be hugely impactful. Why? Well, we'll talk about it in a minute, but the Guardians are technically not eliminated from the wild card yet. And because of that, if they stay within striking distance and think that they're alive, they're not going to quit, and those games will be maybe more competitive. However, if Cleveland slips and falls behind, they're going to quit. It's just nature. It's just human nature. If you're like competing, and then all of a sudden like, we fell short.
Yeah.
The gas is going to fall out. And so those games, those will be interesting, you know, and they're the second and fourth series remaining out of the final 5 series that they play. So it'll just be interesting to me. Does that give the Tigers the edge if the Cleveland drops out, or I mean, do they have to be careful because the Yankees and Red Sox are also kind of alive in this race? If they overtake the Blue Jays and the Tigers don't win during that time, then all of a sudden you're going to be fighting with the Yankees and Red Sox possibly for home field as well.
There's just a lot of going on with that league because everybody is fighting to win at this point.
Yeah, it's a
They're
fascinating
so
race.
close.
You know, they are really all very close, and it's interesting because you have 3 teams in one division and one team
In the other.
in a totally different division.
Yet they are fighting for the same spots.
Yeah, they are, but they're also like, you have to figure that the teams that are fighting for the division with the Blue Jays, Yankees, and Red Sox have a more on their mind right now. The Tigers, they're not being challenged, just like the Brewers, just like the Phillies. You know, so they're the kind of team that the only thing that they have on the line is this home field.
Sure, but that can be against them eventually. When you don't have divisional rivalries or you don't play up to your competition, somebody from another division can swoop in and beat your ass.
Well,
Because
and the
you
Tigers have not been the same team that they
Right.
were to start the year, you know, just like the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants in that sense. They got off to a hot start, but they obviously being overtaken by Toronto at one point, the Tigers were the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I personally feel like whoever wins the AL East is going to win home field because they're just going to be more focused on the overall race right now. The Tigers will be like, oh, well, we still have home field in the second round locked up, no matter what.
But that's different.
I know,
but I know
it,
the justification.
It's just psychology.
Sure.
It's psychology. It's just the basic, like it's human nature again. It's one of those things where it's like, what if they go balls to the wall and then like they lose an important player? Then everyone will be like, why didn't you rest them and all this?
Yep.
So like and that's what is going to mess with them.
Now look at the Padres. They lost a couple pitchers and they are deflated.
Well, we call that like they play not to lose sometimes instead of playing to win.
Yep.
And I feel like the Tigers are in a similar situation. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, with that being said, Nika, we really just have to talk about the wild card itself, because while all of this remains undecided, the actual wild card standings are within striking distance for technically 3 teams right now. The Rangers we've talked about, the Guardians we've talked about, but not too specifically yet, and the Royals. Believe it or not, the Royals, they didn't even make it onto my screenshot of the AL wildcard standings, but they are only, well, I say only, they are 5 games back. They are not mathematically eliminated, and they have some important games coming up with some of these teams.
I overlooked the Royals.
Well, it's easy to overlook the Royals because they're really just a really super long shot right now. They have to play, as we know, at Philadelphia tonight. A really tough place to play. Yes. Then they have to play Seattle at home and Toronto at home. 2 of these teams that are in the middle of divisional races right now. So those teams are going to be like super competitive right now, playing for a lot. Not that you're not playing for a lot because you want to get to the postseason, but you're not in it right now.
Right.
You're fighting to stay in it. The Royals then get the Los Angeles Angels and the Athletics to finish out the season. So, again, the Athletics series even is going to be a tough one. The Guardians, 3.5 games back. They have the White Sox this weekend at home. Then they go to at Detroit, at Minnesota for 4. Then they get Detroit at home and Texas at home, which we've discussed. But they have a lot of games with Detroit left.
I was going to say they have 2 series then.
And I don't think that they're going to be impactful enough to do anything to Detroit. Even if they split, they won't gain any ground. So there's nothing. I mean, they're not mathematically eliminated from the division, but they're not close enough to change that really either. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Rangers, we know that they play at the New York Mets tonight. Jacob deGrom pitching at his old stomping grounds. Then they go to Houston, Miami at home, Minnesota at home, and Cleveland on the road. We already went through their schedule, but I thought it was worth reminding people, refreshing one more time. So, Nika, having said all that, looking at these games, will any of these teams challenge the Mariners or the Astros, I guess, right now for that final playoff spot? I mean, I guess to me, the only team is the Rangers.
I was going to say the Rangers is the only option at this point. I don't see the Guardians doing it. I don't see the Tigers.
You mean the Royals?
I mean the Royals, sorry.
Yeah. No, I know. I feel like they're just a little bit too far out this year. Mm-hmm. And both of those teams were challenging for the playoffs last year. In fact, did they both make it last year?
Guardians did.
The Guardians did, for sure. The Tigers did.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if the Royals did now. Because I know the Yankees did. Obviously, they went to the World Series, and we know Houston did.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So it's possible the Royals were the team.
The last one?
Yeah, and I think they were. They played the Yankees, actually,
and
at home. The Astros played who? Yeah, it's all a bit fuzzy. The Orioles were in there, too, last year. And I don't remember if they had the bye or the wild card. They might have had the wild card. Well, we can barely keep this season straight, let alone last season, folks. All right, well, yeah, my money is on the Rangers possibly making a run, but that's about it. I think the Guardians and the Royals are out. We'll know sooner than later if the Rangers are going to stay in this because they have these big road series with the Mets and with the Astros. Obviously, there could be a lot on the line, and by the end of it, they could be done or they could be right in the middle of it. It's going to be fun to watch.
The last 3 weeks of September.
Because you got to also know, if DeGrom's pitching tonight, then he's also going to pitch that final game in Houston. So that does line up well for the Rangers right now.
Let's see how he pitches tonight.
Let's see how he pitches.
But he is a reinvented pitcher, so.
Oh yeah, I love what he's done.
Yeah.
To be honest, more accuracy and less hard throwing. What a concept! Pitching over throwing. Jeez. Okay, folks. Well, that is the state of the American League playoff race. But let us know your thoughts below. Who do you think is going to be standing on October 1st alive in the chase for the American League pennant? Let us know what you think in the comments below.